let's get started. All right, guys. So thank you guys for joining me. The reason why I'm doing this webinar, getting into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies of whole, is because it's definitely a big trend happening right now. It's big. It's very, very big, and current cryptocurrencies are said that they're going to pretty much change the world in terms of how we do banking, how we exchange money. And I believe it. I believe it's the future. I really do believe it's the future. So understanding how cryptocurrencies work, what they do, how to benefit from them is very, very important. And also how to trade it. I am a trader, so for me, it's very important for me to understand, because my goal as a trader is to understand trending markets, whether it be in the stock market or cryptocurrencies or even Forex. Now, I do specialize in trade and stocks, but the reason why I'm looking into cryptocurrencies is because of the trend. When there's a trend, there's an opportunity to make money. So I'm going to begin by kind of talking more about how to even get started in terms of trading, buying, or selling cryptocurrency. Of course, the most famous cryptocurrencies right now are actually Bitcoin, number one, Ethereum, and then there's Litecoin. Those are the top number 3 coins. There's actually a whole bunch of coins they're out there. A lot of crypto coins. They're called altcoins, alternative coins. But the top is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Actually, and I'm going to go really quickly and actually just go over, type in market value. Bitcoin market value. So you guys kind of get to see, all the value of different currencies out there. Let me see, core market news today. I think it's CoinDesk charts. Okay. Hopefully this gives us a overview of the top. Actually, I'm just gonna go over the top cryptocurrencies. Top cryptocurrencies by market value. Just so you guys kind of get to see that. Coin market, there it is. Coin market cap is the one I was looking for. All right, so market value is very, very important, because that means that right now there's around 10 million Bitcoin out there. I'm just talking about Bitcoin right now. But there's around 10 million Bitcoin out there, and each Bitcoin is worth around, right now is worth around $17,948. So the market cap is $300 billion. So right now, all of Bitcoin is worth around $300 billion. So the market is big. When a market is that big, you're going to get other players, like hedge funds, institutional players, like investment banks like Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. And I want to bring that up because it's very, very important of what they're going to try to do next. So I do want to bring that back. But that's the reason why I wanted to, mention market cap, because it's such a big market cap now. The big players are going to start coming in, and then they're going to change the game a little bit. But I just wanted to show you the top coins out there in terms of market value. Right now, of course, Bitcoin is number 1. Ethereum is number 2. It's at 40 billion. And actually, Bitcoin Cash is actually part of Bitcoin. They did what's called a fork, where they kind of separated it. But it is part of Bitcoin. And that's worth right now 21 billion as a whole. But there's a whole bunch. So there's, Miota, XRP, Ripple, or Litecoin. These are the most popular: Litecoin, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. But there's a whole bunch. Now, just so you guys know, the cryptocurrencies, to me, they're starting to look like, they're getting me the feel kind of like the 2000s, when there's a lot of tech companies going out public, and a lot of them had good ideas, but not a really good business plan. So hope that kind of makes sense. They don't call them IPOs, they call them ICOs, initial coin offerings. So there's a lot of entrepreneurship happening. A lot of people are coming up with their new coins. They're even based on Bitcoin. For example, BitConnect is something that a lot of people have been using lately to kind of like make money on Bitcoin lending. But there's been a lot of shady stuff going on. Just so you guys know. So you guys got to be very, very careful because this industry right now is not regulated. There's no regulation, no government regulation, no government oversight. So there has been a lot of hacking. A lot of people have lost their Bitcoin, you know. And I know a lot of people that I actually watch on YouTube have actually been hacked. Their accounts, their Bitcoin accounts have actually been hacked, and all their Bitcoin has been stolen. So this is something that you have to be very, very careful if you ever get into cryptocurrencies, because you know, especially if you put yourself out there like YouTube, and then you're promoting Bitcoin Connect or any other service to kind of you know, bring in other people on board. It could get pretty tricky because a lot of people could watch that and then try to hack into your account. So that's already happened. A lot of people have actually lost thousands of dollars getting hacked. So what is a trusted source to kind of exchange your or trade Bitcoin or other digital currencies? Now, the number one exchange right now is actually Coinbase by far. And I actually read Barron's. I'm actually subscribed to Barron's. This is where I kind of get all my legit information on the markets and what's happening, what's new. And I read this article. It's a very, very good article that I highly recommend you guys to read if you guys can. It's a Barron's article. It's called Bitcoin Storms Wall Street. So for pretty much what's really going on is that because Bitcoin is such a big market cap now, it's 300 billion. Big players are coming in. Institutional investors, like I mentioned, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley's, hedge funds. And they ain't buying, guys. They ain't gonna be buying. Well, they're gonna be trading for sure, but they're gonna be looking at more of the short side now. And I couldn't agree more with them. Definitely, if you look at the chart of Bitcoin, it's definitely like parabolic exponential. It reminds me of a lot of penny stocks that I've actually traded and actually shorted. When there's a pump, you know, literally the chart just goes exponential because new buyers are coming in. It's been hyped. The media's been hyping it. A lot of people are new to it and they're buying it up. And it's so there's right now like a market frenzy and everybody's kind of going crazy and buying it up at all these high levels. But once no new buyers are coming in, it ain't gonna look so hot. Just to guys show you a quick chart. This is pretty much Bitcoin in the last year. That's how the chart looks. Right now, it looks more to me in terms of odds of making money. It actually makes more sense to me to short it. You know, and I'll explain why. But before I get into that, I just want to quickly mention that Coinbase is the best exchange, the best place to even buy or sell digital currency. Now, again, it's not just Bitcoin. There's other ones like every Ethereum or Litecoin that you could get into. Right now, personally, Bitcoin to me is too expensive. I think there's going to be a pullback. So I'm more interested in other digital currencies like Ethereum or Litecoin. But Coinbase, again, is the most popular. The most, I guess, has the most best reputation for trading on digital currency. So I highly, highly recommend to look into it. Do your research, of course, because other places I kind of don't trust that much. But I do kind of trust Coinbase at the moment. So now, how they trade in terms of Coinbase, they actually use the exchange called JDX. And this is the exchange right here, guys. So just like any exchange, there's buyers and sellers. They're the ones that are there to make a market, so they bring in liquidity. And because Bitcoin is such a big market cap now, a lot of hedge funds, even high-frequency traders are actually already trading Bitcoin. So you bring in a lot of players now, big players. So there's a lot of liquidity now, but with that also brings volatility. So let me just show you guys a chart. And then we can see charts here. Let's see, view exchange. And I kind of like GDX because of how they put their charts. They have candlesticks. They have, here's the book right here. This is level 2. This is where you kind of see the market, the price, buyers and sellers. How many do they want to buy? One other thing that I want to mention is that I know a lot of you guys are like, oh man, I can't even invest in Bitcoin or even in other currencies because they're too expensive, you could actually buy a fraction of a Bitcoin. You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You could buy 0.1 or 0.0001 of a Bitcoin. So you don't have to buy the whole 15,000. As you can see, the market size or the price is right here, and the size you could actually get into different sizes and things like that. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. So again, this is how the GDX looks. So to me, it looks legit. This is the type of charts that I will use if I were to, trade any sort of digital currency. Again, JDAX specializes in trading Bitcoin, and they also have actually Bitcoin versus the US dollar, Bitcoin versus the euro, and Bitcoin versus the British pound. And also they have Ethereum, which to me, it looks better than in terms of buying and long-term holding versus any other coin. Actually, also Litecoin. Well, Litecoin does look a little bit more overbought, but to me, Ethereum looks better for me. But again, they trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, which to me are the most legit cryptocurrencies out there. Now, as a reminder, guys, it's very, very important to do your own research. Do your own research when it comes down to buying or selling any cryptocurrency, because again, there's a lot of people out there that claim to be experts and the Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. But keep in mind that this is kind of new. It's only been out there, I believe, since 2009, 2010. And a lot of people, the people who started early, mining Bitcoin, the ones that are really making the money right now. And the ones who invested in it early and tried to start trading it early are the ones who are really taking advantage and maximizing those gains right now. So right now, to me personally, especially with Bitcoin, it's already a little bit too expensive for me to even consider buying. The truth is, I'm actually thinking about shorting it. I'm not thinking about buying it. I'm actually thinking about shorting it. But it's really tricky. It's very, very, very tricky to short cryptocurrencies, especially when there's such a hype and trend. It could go higher than anybody expects. I actually personally thought that 10,000 was going to be the mark where people might, start selling and might be a pullback. And actually, no, 10,000 was not the mark. Actually, today it hit 19,000. So there's definitely hype going into it, because it's definitely gone up. Like today, it went up 24%, which is insane in one day for such a big market cap type of currency. So I'm going to show you guys another chart that kind of you're able to see Bitcoin a little bit better and kind of explain to you why I believe this thing may actually crash. So let me see, look for that chart. Bitcoin chart. Actually, let me go for TraderView. That's my favorite. Now, TraderView is actually one of the, for me, best places to look at in terms of charts for cryptocurrencies. I really like this thing. It's pretty nice. It's pretty sweet. So I highly, highly recommend to look at this in terms of looking at Bitcoin and stuff like that. So here it is, Bitcoin USD. So I'm going to look at the day chart. And I'm actually extend this baby. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put the monthly chart. Okay, now what is going on here? Weekly chart. I want to show you guys how insane this kind of looks. The charts are not working with me that good. Let me see, give me a second. Okay, here you go. Alright. Alright. I'm trying to kind of like show you guys how insane this move has been. Alright. So if you guys can see, this is literally the Bitcoin to US dollar sharp in the last since April this year. So if you guys could see, April this year, it was trading at $459 per Bitcoin. And right now, it's literally at, like, right now trading at $1,600 $16,400 right now. You guys can see right here, around $60,400. This is not a sustainable move. Eventually, there will be a pullback. There will be some sort of exhaustion move or blow off candle, blow off move, and there's gonna be a pullback. Now, like I said, it's very, very hard to predict because the hype could always last longer than what people expect. And so right now, of course, I'm not shorting Bitcoin because I do not want to step into the hype and I'm going to get short squeezed. But all I know, and again, this is something that I know just from past history. And I want to remind you guys, the housing crash, the housing market, remember that. That wasn't too long ago. That was the early 2000s to 2008. Remember the hype. Everyone was buying houses with no credit, barely no money down, like subprime lending. Everybody hyped up and buying all these houses, and then things just didn't look so good no more. Now, Bitcoin is a currency. What gives Bitcoin value? Literally, what gives it value is what we believe is worth. Buyers and sellers. But eventually, when there's no new more buyers, and then the people at the top, the big players, institutions like investment banks and hedge funds and hedge funds who have the big money and also high frequency traders, they decide to sell and start dumping their Bitcoin, and then no new buyers are coming in. Guess what's going to happen? This thing is going to crash. Again, this literally looks like a parabolic penny stock chart. Again, it's very, very difficult to determine the top, okay? Because the hype is still strong right now. It's very, very strong. So just so you guys know, it's very, very strong. Now, I want to quickly mention that the reason why this trend may reverse pretty soon is because the CME group, which they're the ones that kind of manage all the derivatives, they are the ones that are actually going to start trading futures on Bitcoin. So why is that important? Because a lot of big players, because of the type of fund that they run, some of them are not allowed to trade or invest in Bitcoin because it does not meet their prospectus. It does not meet the risk measurements that investors that put the money with their fund and do not allow it because of the exchange. They don't trust the exchanges like GDAX or other exchanges that trade cryptocurrencies because of the security issues, because there's been some people that have been hacked and their Bitcoin has been stolen. So a lot of these funds don't trust it, but they do trust legitimate exchanges like CME Group or the Chicago Board of Option Exchange, which are going to start trading futures. The Chicago Board of Option Exchange are going to start trading futures on Bitcoin starting December 10, and the CME Group will be starting trading futures on December 18. So what does that mean? That means that a lot of these big funds, hedge funds, are going to be able now to trade Bitcoin, but they're not going to be buying at these levels. They're going to be shorting. They're going to be shorting using derivatives, using future contracts against Bitcoin, because the downside just as how fast this move went up from $400 to $19,000, it could come down just as fast. And again, once the big players start dumping their position on these new guys and these new buyers and these mom and pops who are like, oh wow, I'm going to put my retirement into Bitcoin, they're the ones who are going to actually suffer the most, and it ain't going to look pretty for them. And I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie The Big Short, and I highly, highly, highly recommend to see the movie The Big Short, so this makes more sense, because I don't know if you guys, if whoever saw The Big Short, they explained what are credit default swaps, or what of CDOs, credit CDOs and credit default swaps, or CDSs. These were actually derivatives outside of the market to bet against the housing market. As you guys remember, there were some small percentage of players who made a lot of money when the house market crashed. They made billions of dollars. Billions. So because the CME Group and Chicago Board of Options Exchange is going to start long futures, it's going to allow a lot of big players to get into it, bring in liquidity, but also most likely, like I'm saying, to bet against it. All right. In my opinion, all it really takes for Bitcoin to stop its upward trend and to cause a panic is for something bad than it used to happen. And I really believe something's going to happen. Either the government's going to step in and try to regulate it, because there's a lot of people who made a lot of money on this thing, and they're probably not going to pay any taxes, or they're going to try to avoid paying taxes. So of course the government is going to try to maybe step in to see what's really going on here, and try to get some of that money. But again, it only takes some bad news out there for everybody to freak out and mass amount of people to head out the exits and try to get out as fast as possible and cause a panic. All right, just similar to what happened in the housing market crash, where everything crashed. Again, it took a while. If you guys remember the movie The Big Short, some of these hedge funds were shorting the housing market using credit default swaps, but it took a while. It took a year or two before people realized that the housing market was based on a lot of these subprime garbage loans. And then that's when everything reversed and everybody panicked. Other investment banks panicked and they started selling everything. And I don't know if you guys remember, Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers went bankrupt because of that, because they held a lot of these mortgage-backed securities, and they pretty much went to zero. So I just want to bring that back, because this to me kind of reminds me like The Big Short 2.0. And again, the toughest part about nailing the top, shorting a big hype or bubble, is figuring out the top, and it's very, very difficult. And again, it's not for newbies, it's not for beginners, but it is possible. So for beginners, I highly, highly recommend you guys to stay away, because a lot of these big players, investment banks, and things like that start coming in. And I don't think it's going to look pretty, pretty soon. So again, all it takes is one bad headline news, something bad that makes Bitcoin look bad, and people are going to start running out the exits. There's already people selling, to cash in already. But again, all it takes is some big news or something that looks bad, and everybody's just going to run. Because I'm going to put actually the daily candle. Just so you understand what's going on. So what's happening that what's making prices go up is new buyers is what makes prices go up. So when new buyers come in, they literally pay for the people who bought earlier. So when the new buyers stop coming in and there's some sort of bad news, guess what? Price is going to reverse just like that. Just as fast as it went up, it's going to go down. And actually even faster. Because how trends work, usually they work in stair steps. If you guys can see, it looks like a stair step. But they fall in an elevator style. And just see as I'm gonna actually show you guys. I'm gonna see if I can find a penny stock chart, just so you guys can see it. Chart. Hopefully I could find one on the internet so you guys could kind of see what I'm talking about. There you go. One right here. Perfect. All right. Here's one right here. And hold on. I want a bigger view image. Here it is. See it go. Oh, there it is. Here. Again, Bitcoin kind of reminds me of a pump and dump type of stock. Because again, what's making Bitcoin go up so high? Literally new buyers, the hype. The hype is making it go up. So it's very, very common for a lot of penny stocks. You know, penny stocks actually trade over the counter. They don't really trade on the exchange. And again, Bitcoin does not trade in a legitimate exchange. It trades in its own type of exchange. Actually, they made different exchanges. You know, actually, when Bitcoin first started, there was really no exchange. Literally, people, the way they traded Bitcoin is they literally traded with one hand. Somebody literally probably emailed it to some other guy, or they used like little cards or like maybe a USB drive or something like that, and that's how they were able to trade Bitcoin. But they created an exchange, GDAX, to kind of make it easier for everybody who held Bitcoin, for all the miners. Again, miners are the ones that created the Bitcoin to kind of exchange it back and forth or sell it to someone else. So if you guys could see this chart, JAM, J-A-M-N, was trading at 50 cents. Let's see, and it looks from October, or actually the beginning of the year, 2011. And literally in April, July, in 2 months, it went from 50 cents to $6. Insane amount of move. But as soon as it went up, it crashed right down. Okay? And Bitcoin is starting to kind of give that feel, you know, where it's like, you know what, this thing may actually crash pretty soon. We don't know yet. Again, very, very hard. But it's kind of giving you that feel. Now let me see if I can find another chart that looks better, more clear. Actually, this one may look better. Can't actually look at it. This one maybe looks a little bit better. Okay. Oh shoot. All right. So this chart literally looks like, hold on. Let me close this and look for one again. Penny stock pump and dump chart. Images. Let's see if I can find another one, because that one was a little tricky. All right, this one looks pretty nice. I like this one. See if I can view the image. Yes, perfect. All right. So actually, this is Jam, the same one actually, but just with candlestick, which I like it better. So again, Bitcoin is literally starting to look like this. Again, this is a high pump type of move. Again, you got early buyers, people who understand the trend, who are getting in early in the trend, early around the year, and then once the hype starts to get massive, either people put it in the news, or there's newsletters or chat rooms, and they're really hyping it up. That's when you start getting these type of moves, parabolic moves, where literally price would go up by 100% in a day or two. That's literally what's happening with Bitcoin. If you guys can see, Bitcoin today was up like, actually like 24%. Yeah, see? Bitcoin today was up 24% in the last 24 hours. So you're getting these type of big moves on a daily basis. you know, that's when you start to kind of see, you know, this is starting to get a little bit too crazy, too hype. Because when these big moves happen, these big buyers coming in, that means there's all these new buyers literally buying at the top, and it just really takes, you know, either big players who have large positions to start dumping in high core, and then new buyers to stop coming in. So no more new buyers, and maybe some sort of bad news, and all of a sudden you're gonna get a crash just like this. So literally, it took from April, actually from from March, which was around like what dollar, and so March, April, May, from $1 it went to $5.50 in 3 months, and it literally took 1, 2, 3, 4 days. 4 days. Actually, let me see what candle is this. What type of chart is this? I think this might be the weekly chart. Yeah, this looks like a weekly chart. So it took 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks for it to go down from $6 to back down to like $1. So I really believe this is what's going to happen with Bitcoin. So just want you guys to know to be aware. And again, it's really hard to predict when it's going to happen. That's the hardest part, because as long as there's new buyers coming in, the price is going to keep going down. Actually, it's funny because actually you see the pump and the dump. So it's very funny they put this right here. But it's a very common pattern. You know, they pump it up and then they dump on it. So because Bitcoin has been in the news so much, it's a lot of newbies who have no idea how Bitcoin works or what even does. All they know is it keeps going up. Some of them will make money, but majority of them are gonna lose money. They're gonna be called what's called bag holders. They're the ones that are gonna be like, you know what, I'm gonna buy Bitcoin at 10,000 because I believe it could go to 50,000. You know, and I want to hold for 10 years. But what ends up happening when they buy up so high, and then the crash is the pretty much the price falls down by like 50%. Like half of them are gonna panic. You buy at 10,000, and all of a sudden it goes to 5,000. You're gonna panic and you're gonna sell, and that's what causes those panics, those sharp, you know, crazy, you know, sell-offs like this. You know what I mean? So I just wanted you guys to understand it. And again, big players. See, quick panics like that, just like that. Everybody freaks out. No more new buyers. Nobody buying it. Pretty much all the big players sold out of the position, and there's no new buyers. All it takes is for some little bad news to happen. All of a sudden, people are gonna freak out, and there's gonna be massive crashes just like that. You know, in literally days, you could go from like, honestly, in literally days, you could go from 20,000 to like 10,000 or even 5,000, even 1,000. I know it sounds crazy, but people, when you see it, you have mass panic, it can get very crazy. You get these things like this. And keep in mind, a lot of these exchanges out there that trade Bitcoin could be pretty shady out there. So again, that's the whole reason why a lot of these big players, hedge funds, portfolio managers who manage funds, they're not going to get into those exchanges. They're not going to trade Bitcoin directly. They're going to go to the futures market. Just how the hedge fund managers who banked on the housing crisis didn't directly sold or short sell houses. How do you even do that? They went to derivatives markets through investment banks, through exchanges, and they short sell and they bought credit default swaps, kind of like an insurance, to bet against the housing market. And again, they're going to buy or short sell futures to bet against Bitcoin. All right, guys. So I hope that makes sense, guys. I know it's a lot, and I hope you guys learned something. But highly recommend you to do your research on cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin at this point. At this point, I don't recommend buying. Again, I'm not an expert. Do your own research. I believe at this point, it's starting to look parabolic, if you guys can see. Let me see if we get a 2-month chart overlay candle. It's starting to look parabolic to me. At this point, I wouldn't buy it. And again, if you're not experienced with short selling or nothing like that, just stay away from it. Look into other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, or even this is the Ethereum chart, which looks more balanced out, consolidating, or even more of a Litecoin chart. So that's something that I recommend you to look maybe into other cryptocurrencies. But Bitcoin right now, it's definitely very, very hyped up. I wouldn't recommend buying it. Again, do your own due diligence and be careful out there, guys, because this hype will end, and it's not going to end nicely. It's going to end in tears. Again, look at this chart. How crazy Bitcoin's been. I actually love bearings, by the way. But look how long it takes. From 0 to 1,000, it literally took 100 trading days. From 2,000 to 3,000, took 55 trading days. From 3 to 4, 5 days. From 4 to 5, 33 days. 5 to 6, 12 days. 6 to 7, 6,000 to 7,000, 3 days. 7,000, 8,000, 12 days. 8 to 9, 5 days. 9 to 10, 2 days. And I believe it literally took 2 days. Actually, let me see. Literally, it took 2 days from 12,000 to 16,000. So when you get these huge, huge prices and they speed up so quickly, that means that the end is coming. The reversal is coming, guys. So, and the funny thing is, it's coming just in time for like somebody like, when just in time for like, December 10 or December 18, when a lot of these big hedge fund, big players are going to be able to trade futures. And again, most likely, I believe they're going to short sell Bitcoin. They ain't going to buy, they're going to short sell it. And again, all it takes is some sort of bad news to come out. People get scared, people start panicking, and we're going to have a nasty, nasty crash. All right, guys. Hopefully you guys learned something about cryptocurrencies, and hopefully you guys learned something about this. Again, be careful out there, guys. Do your own due diligence. Don't believe anybody out there. Again, this is your money, so be responsible of what you're going to do. So hope you guys learned something, and I will see you guys in the next webinar, guys. Have a good one.